Welcome to Business Talk, presented in collaboration with the University of Rio Grande and the Ohio State University South Centers, from the heart of southeastern Ohio at the University of Rio Grande TV studio. Our goals are simple: promote the University of Rio Grande and the Ohio State University South Centers, as well as advocate local small business and their support organizations. More importantly, promote southeastern Ohio as a wonderful place to live, explore, and learn. There are many different ways you can find us. The University of Rio Grande Cable Access Channel 17, live online at blogtalkradio.com, and on YouTube if you are unable to catch our show live. Introducing our co-hosts, Jason Winters, Mike Thompson, Patrick Dengel. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hey, welcome back to our show. Today, Mike, you wouldn't believe this, but today is December the 18th, and we have 53 weeks until Christmas. I bet you didn't know that.
No, I didn't.
Time is going by so quickly. This is going to be our last show of the year, because obviously
2013.
Yeah, 2013. And we know that Jason is celebrating by being on a cruise. So we're gonna miss Jason's wisdom, but we wanted to welcome our featured guest, and our featured guest doesn't realize this, but you are the last person to be interviewed for 2013, and we're talking with Dr. Richard Fisher, DVM, and we'll get into the DVM in a little bit. He's going to be talking about some unique programs that he's involved with at the University of Rio Grande. So welcome, Dr. Fisher. Pleased to have you on our program. Tell us about yourself.
Pat, I'm glad to be here. My background is such that I was born and raised here in Gallia County. Grew up a graduate of Gallia Academy High School. Went off to Ohio State and graduated in 1976 from the Ohio State University and as a doctor of veterinary medicine. I then practiced veterinary medicine for 7 years, total of 7 years, and then was approached about working in the research area of veterinary medicine. And over 21 more years, was involved with 4 different veterinary drug companies, first in research and then in administration, the last 2 being their vice presidents of research and development. Had the opportunity to travel all over the world, got a lot of different experiences there, but reached a point in my career where I wanted to be able to give back as far as my education to young people, and so decided to take a leap and go into the education field. I taught actually high school students, juniors and seniors in high school, for 5 years at Miami Valley Career-Technology Center, the largest career tech center in the state of Ohio, teaching a pre-veterinary technology program. Moved back down to the Gallipolis area. I have owned owned my family farm for many years, and I had built a new home, and then approached the university, wanted to stay in the education area, and they have a career tech education program that they wanted me to coordinate or be the instructor for. And so I have had the pleasure of being the instructor now for the 4th year.
I think that's fantastic. Let's see, you're an assistant professor, you're coordinator and instructor of the Career Tech Education Program at Bunce School of Education.
That is correct. That is correct, Pat.
And I know that for the listening audience, career tech or technology or technical schools sort of blends in with regular high schools. And I was wondering if you would just tell me a little bit about what the difference is between a high school and a vocational school, or a VOTech school.
Yes, indeed. And they do. What used to be called, when I was growing up, your vocational schools. have really expanded and grown over the years, and they're all recognized as being career technology centers now. And what the difference would be is with a career center, they're providing not just the academic type of subjects, but they're actually preparing the student to go out into the workforce directly after graduation. They are also being prepared to go on to secondary education, and many of them do choose to go on to colleges and get associates, bachelor's degrees, and more. But they are being taught a field or a career. And so, as an example, they might come out of a career center and be able to do your hair as a cosmetologist, or they might be a nurse's aide, or they could be a welder, or a carpenter, or a mason. And so they focus on programs where they're actually learning a specific skill.
Similar skills to what skills Mike has. You know, Mike is.
It's possible.
It is.
There are some training things about that. I learned this in the Army.
In the technical Army, right?
Yeah. Well, I was a specialist for.
Specialist for.
Yeah.
And so basically you're helping those students define what their career vocational paths are.
Yes.
So that way when they do leave high school, graduate from high school, they're able to begin working in those technical fields.
That is true. That is true. And now one thing that I would want to note is you had asked as far as just the regular public high schools. Their focus is obviously the academics, but also preparing the student for college, so to speak, in most cases. And there are actually a hybrid type of school called a comprehensive high school. There are two known as comprehensive high schools here in Southern Ohio. Meigs High School is one. Morgan High School up at McConnellsville is the second one that I'm aware of here in Southern Ohio. And what they provide is your typical public high school programs plus a few, and by a few I'm saying maybe 6 to 8 career programs also. And so they are a combination, and they're called a comprehensive high school.
So maybe that's how we should market ourselves, because we are sort of a combination of that 2-year technical college and a 4-year school.
That is true. Mike.
That's
That
sort of
is
the
true.
same kind of deal.
It is.
And
It is.
I don't know, in the high school, do you think there's a view that going to a career technical program is kind of a step down or something?
That I would have to say that in the past, that was something that was sort of looked down on, that the poorer student would go to the vo-tech school, so to speak. That is not the case now. With the different programs that are available in career centers, such as Buckeye Hills and Collins, Scioto County Career Technology Center, the closest ones to here, plus at Meigs High School. Those programs are highly looked at by the student that is excelling.
Well, they're more job focused, and I don't see a problem with that because they're all skills. You do need a skill to get a job, and the jobs that they train for are fairly decent paying jobs. You know, some of them probably pay more than what you might get at sometimes as a 4-year degree graduate.
That is the case.
You know,
Something of interest. Scioto Vocational School used to also house Shawnee State Technical College.
Yes.
And it was one step further. Many of the students would go to the Scioto Tech school.
sort of a 2+2 kind of deal.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
is true.
And then Shawnee State Technical Institute or college moved into Portsmouth proper to become a university. So they still have many of those educational programs
Yes.
that sort of foster the learning and education at the VOTEC schools.
Mhm.
So I can appreciate the fact that vocational schools do play a very relevant part in our society because it gives hands-on training.
Yes.
And we need those people in society. It's not like you're, second rate if you don't go to college. We need those people to do these jobs. And if you're good at it, you have my respect,
Yes. But the interesting thing is, where do you find the faculty?
Well, that is
That's the key.
where my program comes in. The Career Tech program here at the University of Rio Grande provides the education skills, so to speak, or the teaching skills for that expert in a field. And what happens is, we'll use an example that a career center would need a new welding instructor. Then they will search and locate an individual that has a minimum of 5 years experience in that particular field of welding. And a lot of times they have much more experience than that, but a minimum of 5 years. They will then determine, based on interviews and looking at their employers and things along those lines, that that's the person that they want to hire as their new welding instructor. Once they have made that decision and have hired that individual, then that individual is required to enroll in our program here at the University of Rio Grande to get the necessary license to be a professional educator. And so they enroll in the program, and over a course of 3 years, they will take 27 semester hours of education classes to get the necessary skills as a teacher. Even though they're an expert in the field of welding and know everything that there is to know about welding, they've never faced a classroom of high school students before.
So have you seen these students come in, the students as far as the welding instructor, come through and finish, and what kind of difference have you been able to see in these people that have taken that?
There is, in most cases, a dramatic difference in terms of when they first start the program versus when they are finishing the program after 3 years, because they've been able to sort of accumulate classroom management skills. They've definitely become a better organizer as far as planning their lessons and being able to relate to the students. I emphasize to all of these new teachers that they need to establish relationships with their students, proper relationships.
Yeah, you can't talk to them like you have your fellow welder.
That is very, very much the case. Very much the case. They have, they will develop skills of being able to communicate in a proper manner to these students, and at the same time realize that there is more to the teaching profession than just being able to weld a piece of metal together.
Yeah, no, it's not just come over here. Let me show you something.
Not that at all.
Well, a good example is the TV series Happy Days,
Yes.
where Fonzie, the Fonz, eventually moves into where he is working with VOTEC high school students.
Yes.
Helping them with the mechanical degrees.
You're
But-
dating yourself, It's like, who is this Fonz person he is talking about?
That was before the turn of the century.
Yes.
Yeah. But if you don't know who that is, all they have to do is take their iPod out
Right.
and just put in Happy Space Days,
Yeah.
and there it is.
So
but
he was teaching in a
it-
VOTEC school?
Yes, auto mechanics,
Mhm.
and I'm not sure how effective he would have.
He was a Fonzie. He was
He
the
was a
best at
Fonzie,
everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I would imagine that you would help then Fonzie
Yes.
to get those technical skills needed so that he could be certified.
Definitely.
And to
Definitely the
me,
case.
as much as relating to the students, it would probably be skills in how to be managed and how to relate to the school administration, because that's quite different than the job site that this person's probably been working with.
There are several of the different career paths that are available where the individual coming in has been a business owner, and they're working on their own independently. And as Mike has said, they are now being asked to respond to an administrator, and it poses rather unique challenges there also.
So the vocational skills in the vocational schools, what are some of the more common programs? You have mentioned nurse's aid,
Okay.
and you mentioned
Beautician or
beautician,
Cosmetology.
Cosmetology.
What are some of the other vocational?
Actually, on the career tech side, there are actually 16 different career fields that fall under career technology centers. And some of the examples of teachers that I currently have that are going through my program are cosmetologists. We've got individuals that are teaching carpentry, heavy equipment, teaching business, teaching IT or technology, computers in local schools. There's also individuals that are teaching criminal justice, those that are teaching marketing type programs. We've also got individuals that are looking at areas, a number of different fields in the healthcare area. I have several of my new teachers that are already registered nurses, and they are now teaching in a high school setting in terms of getting individuals ready to be a nurse's aide or maybe a phlebotomist, where they will take blood samples from hospitalized patients. So there's a wide range of career tech areas.
So what are these people's motivation? Because it sounds like some of the areas that you're talking about pay fairly well, and I'm not sure what a starting salary for a teacher would be, but it could be lower. What is their motivation for going into education?
Probably the biggest motivation is the same motivation that I had when I left the corporate veterinary medicine field and got into education, and that is to be able to give back as far as their educational experience to the youth.
Sort of passing the
community.
torch.
And so being able to provide their experiences and expertise to those young people and see them then, as you mentioned, Mike, pass the torch.
I'm a true believer that oftentimes we force high school students, 15, 16-year-olds, to make a vocational choice immediately that will last them for the rest of their life. And oftentimes on the vocational end, they count for about 10,000 of the 44,000 different vocational occupations, etc. Many individuals probably would be very good at certain kinds of skills.
Yes.
And I'm a true believer to really understand that college is but one aspect of a person's overall learning, and that vocational schools are very good for other individuals.
Yes, yes.
In establishing the Career Licensure Program, I'm assuming that this program is available at all universities.
Well, actually, Pat, this is a unique program because here in the state of Ohio, there are only a total of 6 universities that provide career technical education. The University of Rio Grande and Wright State University are the only two in Southern Ohio. In Central Ohio, we have the Ohio State University. And then in Northern Ohio, there is the University of Toledo, Kent State University, and Bowling Green State University. And so there are only 6 programs here in the state of Ohio that provide the necessary training for a career tech educator.
So I'm also assuming then that you have many individuals going through your program in surrounding counties?
I actually cover a wide area, and it's such that because my students need to come such a distance to the classes, we're not able to actually hold classes through the week. An evening class would make it too late. Some of my teachers actually drive 2.5 hours one way to get here to the university for class. So we hold classes on Saturdays.
Okay.
Through the week, then I will go and observe these teachers in their classroom and critique them, help them in their teaching style, so to speak. And so I will travel from Cincinnati to Cambridge to go to different schools throughout Southern Ohio to assist these new teachers.
What about someone that is from, let's say, West Virginia or right down the river, Kentucky?
Well, West Virginia and Kentucky also have similar type of programs, so they are not eligible to attend here at the University of Rio Grande in terms of getting the Ohio teaching license. West Virginia has similar, and so does Kentucky, similar type of programs for their career tech educators.
I was going to ask, since it's a far distance to go, is there an online component? Can you do this online, or is it purely face-to-face all the time?
It is a face-to-face interaction. Probably the largest benefit that these new teachers get from the program is the opportunity to sit in a classroom with the discussions that we have as far as sharing what they are experiencing as a new teacher with other new teachers. There's a vast amount of learning that takes place there, and I can share with them experiences that I had as being a individual that went through the same type of experience.
So is it a lot of crying on each other's shoulders and sharing experiences and troubleshooting? How do I deal with this kid?
Yes, it's a combination of all of that, actually, Mike. There is a lot of sharing of successes to be able to see a new instructor realize what a difference they're making in a student's life. But at the same time, they can share and get, some words of wisdom from those that have experienced similar situations.
So let's just suppose I have a specialized skill. Let's just suppose I can tear down an engine and put it back and not have any parts left over. And a school system feels that I have some of the right components to teach in their vocational school.
Yes.
What is the steps? Obviously, I would have to apply.
Do they recruit more, or do you search it out as the person with the skills?
We have both situations. The career tech centers will definitely recruit, looking for a new instructor. If an instructor has decided to leave the area or decided maybe to go back into industry or in most cases retire, then they will actually recruit and put out advertisements looking for individuals with that particular type of skill. But at the same time, there are individuals that might have decided for various reasons that they feel this would be a good career move for them, and so they will approach the career centers about that. Once the Career Center has then looked at their experience and decided to hire them, then they will be required to enroll in my program. And we will start with getting them a 4-year, in effect, temporary license so that they can start teaching, but at the same time, they are required over those 4 years to complete my 3-year program and to also complete a mentoring program called the Resident Educator Program with their school district. And if both of those are completed in that 4-year time span, then they will get a 5-year professional license in their particular
Now, is that
field.
different from a teacher's license?
The 5-year professional license is the same as a teacher that would be teaching mathematics or English or any of your academic subjects.
Okay, how about some money? Do these people pay for your class? Do the schools pay for the class? Is it a mixture, or does your program pay for it?
Excellent question, Mike. And we have a wide range with the number of schools that I deal with. I have a couple of school districts that actually pay all of the expenses associated with taking the classes. I have a couple of school districts that don't pay anything, and it's purely the responsibility of the new teacher to pay for the courses. Most of the school districts, fortunately, provide a portion of that, and so the new instructor is then required to pay for the classes and then are reimbursed.
So at the end of that, you have a certificate. Is there any other, do you get a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree? Is there any other type of paperwork that you get from this?
This is purely a licensure program. The
Okay.
focus of it is to get them a permanent professional teaching license.
Okay.
And I know that you're part of Bunce School of Education.
Yes.
And for what it is worth, it has an excellent reputation throughout the southern part of Ohio as being a really excellent school in helping new faculty members for high school and grade school. Any thoughts, or we plan on having several individuals also from Bunce School of Education, but you want to share anything?
The only thing that I would mention, Pat, is the University of Rio Grande was founded as a school to educate new teachers. So it was really a school of education initially. And up until just the recent years, has it always been the largest enrollment here on the campus. The nursing school has just recently surpassed the School of Education in the number of students, which is
The
also
teachers are
a
getting older
very
and they
good,
need more
very good thing.
care.
But we have excellent programs with the School of Education, and I would encourage anyone that is interested in getting into the education field, by all means, contact the Bunce School of Education.
Yeah, my grandmother went here in 1920, somewhere in that area, and she was a one-room schoolhouse teacher.
Yes, yes.
And it didn't take that long to go. It wasn't like a 6-year or 5-year program. It was, I don't know, it might have been just half a year or something. That the teacher program didn't take that long back in the early 1900s.
Right.
Well, I grew up in a 2-room school.
Yeah. Where they taught multiple grades all in one room?
Yes, the other was to take care of certain things,
Oh, okay.
but it was
Usually they had outhouses.
Yeah, that's what they call them.
Yeah.
We only have about a minute or so
We got
left.
about 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Care to share anything else?
I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak today, Pat. I've enjoyed the opportunity to talk about the Career Tech Education Program.
Well, I've learned a lot. I know that you had some amusing stories you wanted to tell, but next time you come back on the show, we'll be glad to entertain those. Again, Dr. Richard Fisher, thank you very much for being on our show. And you get the distinction of saying you closed out the 2013 year on Business Talk.
Well, thank you very much, Pat, and I wish the Business Talk program all the best for 2014.
Thank you. I'm Patrick.
I'm Mike.
And this is Dr. Fisher. Thank you.
Thanks for watching.